Today was an interesting day. I went this morning to that kooky, creepy interview thing over at Rooms to Go in Destin. Whoa, that was so scary. Um, Never seen anything like that in my life. Ever, 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 ever. Um, oh my gosh, these guys are working on a car and this guy's whole butt is like hanging out. My, oh my. But anyway, uh, then um, I had got a call this morning about a store that wanted me to. I went. I was in there. I've tried to get to work there for a long time. And I worked for the company before. Hello, hello. Many, many, many years ago, and before I went to work at the casinos, and uh, so in that company, the owner had died and sold it off to another company, and they were evil. And I was one of the first ones to split and go sign up for the casinos to go work there. And it was one of the greatest things I ever did. Worked for many years at the casinos. Um, anyway, I went over there and was shopping, and they had a sign up they were hiring, and I have never been able to get into that store. And so I talked to the manager, and he said, "Well, not really, but maybe this one department he could use a helper." Uh, and he caught me as I was leaving the store because at first he said no, and so he handed me the application, told me, "Look, if you want to bring it back or whatever," and I said, "Sure." Went out to the car, filled it out, gave it to him. In about 10 minutes, boom, and he was really impressed. And a few days later, today, I get this call this morning, and it's a very nice gentleman, and he says, um, "I would be interested in hiring you. When could we meet?" I said, "I could come over there right now." He says, "Well, it's my day off, but I thought I would give you a ring." And now, how nice is that? Here's a guy that's not even on the clock, and he's calling me. Pretty nice. We talked for just a few minutes because I didn't want to take up his day. Would have loved to met with him today. He sounded very, very nice. And uh, it's a produce job. A friend of mine was produce at, I'm thinking it was the Piggly Wiggly in West Helena for years and years and years and years. And she was gay. She took a huge amount of pride in it. And she had a wife with two kids, and they were together for years and years. And her wife was a nurse, and then got fired for being gay, which was so sad. Um, and so Renee Kerr was her name. She died of cancer, and uh, she was just avid working in produce. She was so proud, became produce manager, and she just loved her job. And I mean, that's all I can think of she did. I think she worked in one of the factories before that, or a loading dock. Um, this was the most beautiful girl. You could not believe it. She told me one day, she said, "Red, you too pretty to be one of my girlfriends, or I'd be chasing you down." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not gay, but anyway, thank you for the compliment." Um, and we were really dear friends for a great many years. Really down to earth character, just really neat and great. Yeah. Um, so I mean, they treated her so good. Um, and so now I don't know if the one in Helena was the same owner as the one in West Helena. I'm thinking it wasn't. I could be wrong. The guy that owned the one in Helena was Mr. Story, and he looked like kind of like an old Kentucky Fried Chicken guy with the white suit. He was so nice. This guy used to come to the store and say hi to us and stuff. He was like Sam Walton. Just a really nice, guy, older guy. And he passed away, and I guess the family decided to cut loose of it and sold it off to this terrible company. It was the Food Giant company. It was Edwards Company, and they had Food Giant, and they changed it. The store is no longer there. Um, uh, uh, I'm thinking, I can't remember if it was a vacant lot or a building when my youngest daughter and I went through there. And we pulled up by there, and I'm like, I used to work right here. And she was like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, it's really strange that it's like closed. So anyway, I was a manager in the grocery business years ago. And that's how I went in. I was a manager, and I'm an office manager. And sometimes I would check because I didn't want to just sit up in the office looking pretty. I'd jump down there if we were slammed. I jumped down there, brought a pan with me, and opened the register and was checking just like the rest of them because that's our paycheck, you know. And I learned so much working there with the people that deliver and set the end caps and stuff for, like Pepsi and all that stuff. I learned from the butcher. I learned stuff from the produce guy. Our produce guy drove a Cadillac. He's a black guy with like Michael Jackson hair with the curls coming down, and a heavy gentleman. He was probably in his 50s or 60s, couple gold teeth, and he wore dress shoes that were polished to the T, and a green apron, and he handled all the produce. It was so funny. And he used to buy a lot of homegrown stuff and sell it in the store. So people that were local that were growing their own gardens and stuff like that, they would bring their stuff in, and he would purchase it to sell it in the store because it was, like organically grown and all that kind of thing. So it was really kind of neat. But I learned a lot. I really learned a lot. Um, I kind of wished I would have learned all the different departments and how to stock, because I used to watch the stockers and they were just incredible. They did beautiful displays and everything was just so picture perfect. Um, but all of us was a manager. So anyway, I was really excited when this guy called me today. He was very nice, and I've got to meet with him tomorrow. And he was like, I said, "Is it full time?" And he said, "Well, it's part time, but it'll be 30, 35 hours a week." I'm like, "That's close enough. That's good." So that was really cool. Yeah, thanks. Um, and what's really cool, it's kind of near like my little office. So, because guess what? I got 3 orders online in 24 hours. That's right. And then my printer defunct last night. I got one order shipped out, and the other two, just popped in as soon as I left. Yeah, you aren't lying. I was like so excited. I couldn't believe it. It's just like bam, bam, bam. I was like, what the heck? And see, every time an order comes through, it goes cha-ching, like here at the casino. Yeah. And so it's like, what? So, yeah, 3 orders in 24 hours. Bam, bam, bam. I had got one order as soon as I left. And I was like, oh, and my printer defunct. And then I got another order this morning. And I was like, what the heck? And so I was really excited. 2 pair of bell bottoms and a really gorgeous pair of men's penny loafers. They're like brand new. They're all leather, like the ones you would get at Dillard's. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I got those in a storage auction and I restored them, and they're absolutely beautiful. And so um, uh, all that sold. At the other two I couldn't ship because my printer went cuckoo. So I just went to the store and got some printer ink, which is relatively cheap. Um, uh, because I was out of the black. I have all the other colors that I ordered from my friend down in Lower Florida. Um, well, it's malfunctioning. I tried to refill, and these cartridges do not like to be refilled. And I got a $550 printer. It's like brand new, at the secondhand store for like $8. And you can bring it back. They let you bring it back if it doesn't work. They act like they've tested it and all that crap. Look, this thing took me a week to get it rolling. And man, I looked it up and it's $550 HP printer. And I was like, dude, it looks like it's not even used. So it prints super, super nice. Um, so I've got like 6 printers in storage. All I gotta do is like clean them up and run them. But you know, yeah, $8 secondhand store. I do it like I all the time. I bought one before for like $12, cleaned it up, and got it running real good. And I gave it to somebody that needed a printer real bad because they wanted to sell online or something. They couldn't afford a printer. I'm like, here, take a printer. You know, if that's all that's holding you back, take a printer. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I got all kinds of printers. You know, and all I gotta do is pull them out of a box and clean them up and fill the ink cartridges and run it. And take a couple days to get started back up again. But I've got several printers. But yeah, so they're buried in storage. But anyway, so that printer really prints nice, and so it went cuckoo last night. Other than the fact it was really, really cold the last like 3 days, like freezing temperatures, really terrible cold. And so it acts up when it gets really cold. It hates it. It does not want to print. It'll be like colder in the storages than it is outside. So I said, well, but I worked on it a little bit today because on a real side note, oh my gosh, one of my co-workers, my friend that's from out of state, that's like the primo stalker that teaches me stuff every night that I work with him, and I haven't worked but like one shift in like a month. And so um uh um he broke 3 ribs at work, like yesterday or the day before, and he's a severe heart patient. Oh my god, it's just a mess. And so yeah, it's so sad. Really nice guy. Oh my gosh, really nice guy. I was you know right waiting on my pay, and freaking I wasn't gonna make it. There were 7 days late on my pay, and I had gone to the store and picked a couple things up, and he was like, "Look, um, have you eaten?" And I'm like, "No," like in 2 days. He says, "Here, find something to eat." He says, "Give it to me," and I'm like, "Okay." So I grabbed some El Cheapo thing, and just handed it to him. Said that'll be fine. And see, they'll let me use the microwave at work. I know everybody there. The managers, everybody are really nice. And so um, he went up to the register, bought it, and got $20 cash back because he doesn't carry money on him. And handed me the food and 20. And he said, "So you can make it till Friday." And I was like, oh my gosh, because like I didn't have any gas. I was doing job offers, and stuff, interviews, and all that. And I just managed to get my phone turned on because I was so scared I was going to miss a call from a prospective job. And so that was really sweet. And it's just coworker. I love the world out of him. Um, and so he just comes down for like 6 months and then he goes back north. And so he does it every year apparently. Nicest guy in the world, but he's brilliant. He knows the job so well. So I really enjoy working with him because he teaches me. He'll walk by and he'll say, "Here, this is better if you put it like this." And the reason why is, and I'll go, "Oh, okay." Or if I get stuck and I don't know what to do, because it's kind of like working a puzzle when you're stocking, because you got to do it by the owner's requirements of how they want it done, and it's just not that simple. So you have to be really careful what you do, because because it's got to be right. And so I'll pop over to him and I'll say, hey, tell me what to do with this. And he'll come over and he'll look at it and he'll think about it for a second and go, okay, this is what you need to do. Move this, and keep all those, but it's got to be in a vertical row, and it should fit perfect. And I'm like, okay. And I mean, it's really great. So he has all the answers. And so, I'm very interested to totally learn the job. I mean, I can do almost anything on the face of this earth. I'm a very talented, experienced person and overeducated, but this is a job I don't know a lot about, and I want to like ace it. You know what I mean? So I want to do the best job I can. So, because you never know, I might use this again somewhere. Who knows? It's a lot of fun though. It's a very peaceful job. I really do like it. I really, really do like it. It's almost like playing chess. It's just very precise and it's peaceful and no bull crap. It's just you just keep working, working, working. Take breaks whenever you want. They're very nice. If I want to walk outside and hang out for 5 minutes to take a break, I can. I can do it anytime, as many times as I want. They're very, very nice. Um, so anyway, stocking the shelf is what I used to do. Really? It's peaceful though. It's a really peaceful job. No bull crap, you know. Every once in a while you get a mean customer, but I didn't have any tonight. But yeah, so this guy he broke 3 ribs, and I got this call. I was going over to go work on that printer and ship those 2 items out, right? Because I like to ship really fast. When I order something, it's like I wanted it yesterday, express. So I don't want to make my customers wait. I have a really good reputation of shipping promptly. And usually it's as soon as they order, like I'm shipping it in an hour. If I'm there to print it out and ship it, by God, I'll ship that sucker out in about an hour. I was a cashier and a stalker at a grocery store. Third shift. Is that right? Yeah, nothing around here is open 24 hours. It's such a pity. Um, but it's really sad that the WalMarts are not going back 24 hours. That's just absolutely pitiful. It was so nice because you go in 2, 3, 4 in the morning when not a lot of people were there, and you could get in and get out, get all kinds of grocery shopping done, and nobody was in your way. Nothing. It was the greatest time in the world to go. But unfortunately, that's it. But anyway, so um, my boss called me, and I'm like, I wonder what she's calling me for. I mean, I've only worked 1 shift in a month, and because my other job screwed that up because the bozo could never make a damn schedule in due time. I've never seen anything like it. What a clown! And so anyway, but it's bad if it costs me my work because I'm trying to make as much money as I can. It was really convenient because I would go there after work and do an hour or two if I felt like it, and then I'd work my days off, over there, and so I'd be working 7 days a week. But I'm trying to get caught up and get some money together so I can get a place to live. I'm not trying to slide backwards. Trying to keep gas in the car, eat all the cool stuff. Just do like regular people do. If anything, get my car all sorted out and go back on the road and run costumes because that's where I make my serious money at. This money I make, what I make in a day, I make in an hour at work. Okay, no joke. Um, but you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So anyway, I was really excited, and first thing I thought is, oh my gosh, is something happened to him? And I asked her, I said, did something happen to him? She said, well, yeah. He broke 3 ribs. And I'm like, at work? And she said, yes. And like, he's a really severe heart patient, so I'll bet you he fell. Um, because I've seen him sometimes, and I get real concerned. He gets like real confused and stuff, and he actually takes naps on his break, on his lunch break. He goes in his car and takes a nap. And I've seen him, when he woke up, and just jump out of the car, and he'll act confused sometimes. And then I'll go in and talk to him while he's at work for a minute or two, and he's just kind of, a little bit off. Um, uh, and I know it's his heart, so it's really sad. Nicest guy on the face of this earth. Oh my gosh, very peaceful person. Um, and uh, man, I wanted to cry when she told me that he had broke 3 ribs. And now this is a guy that's like got all the hours for the stalking too. So they're restricted, on hours. He gets full time, you know, and because he's worked for the company for a great many years. And so um I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to cry. I felt so bad. She said, well, I need you to come in. If you can have a way to come, I really need your help because he's out until the 30th because the doctor won't let him come back. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. And I mean, I'm happy to get work. I need work right now. I need work. While I'm playing this, job game. Oh my gosh. I got hired at Cracker Barrel the other day. I wanted to be a dishwasher busser. And she wants to talk me out of it, make me a server where they only get 3 tables, and I'm not interested. Yeah, they hired me, and I've never even received the email that I'm supposed to sign up because they want to do a freaking security background check on me at a restaurant. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh! But they get their tips by the day, the credit card and the cash. But they only pay like $7, $8 an hour, which is so lame. When I can be doing 17 an hour being a dish, and she wants to pay 15, and I was like, man, you need to be paying 16 or 17 on dish. And uh, oh yeah, she said she hired me, but she never sent me the damn thing. It was real weird because I she had called me for the appointment. I got it on Indeed, and she called me for the appointment last week. Said come in on Monday at 1, and I asked her again and wrote it down on a piece of paper right here in the card. Monday at 1, right? So what did I do? I showed up at Monday at 12:30, and the host guy, I was waiting out front forever. Nobody came, and then he took me to a back table in a closed dining room that they weren't running, and asked me if I wanted a beverage, and I said, yeah, I'll take a Coke, please. And so he brought me, a big Coke. I sat there for an hour and a half. Finally, the same lady I'd seen the other day, finally, she comes out and sits at the table, and we talk. Filipino lady. And so we talked for about an hour. She was doing a restaurant out in Crestview, an Italian restaurant with her dude, and she divorced him. And then he ended up selling the restaurant like an idiot to a relative, and the relative failed and it got closed. And it was a really good Italian restaurant, and for years. And so anyway, we talked about. She said, well, she'd be a server, and you get like 3 tables, and then they do this training thing. See, this is a bad part about learning how to waitress today in a house like that that's not fine dining. And is you got to work with another server so that, and you stand around and do all their work, and then they make the tips and you don't. And they'll stick you like that for 3 days or a week, every single day to play that game where you make nothing but pennies, And then they'll give you, on one day you'll work with that same server and they'll give you 1 table of your own. And I don't know if they even sacrifice the tips on that too. And then they start giving you 3 tables. That's how they cut the sections up to 3 tables. 3 tables is a little bit shy, man. You know what I mean? Sounds like you got too many servers, because she was going, yeah, I usually have about 12 servers. And, it's the same thing they did at Crab Trap. They'd have like 19 of them. And they'd be sending them home by the hour. Because when it got slow, that's what they did. They'd tell them, okay, see ya, clock out. And that would be pitiful, be going to work and be sent home in an hour or two and have that happen like every day. Forget it, you know. They're supposed to give you regular minimum wage if your tips don't make it. Um, yeah, that's what they said in the state of Florida. That was like a recent thing. They're supposed to make good for that, even for strippers. They had started that for years ago in the strip clubs, because the strippers were suing the strip clubs because they had to tip all these people out, pay house and all that crap. And if they didn't make any money for the whole day and ended up sacrificing all their money out in tip outs, then they made it a law in Florida where they've got to pay them at least minimum wage. And see, that gets tidy because there's a reason why they stopped paying dancers hourly wage. And that went all across the United States like fire, because if somebody was caught doing something, you know, illegal with a customer, and then they could padlock the club. So they stopped doing paychecks, so the club was not liable. They called them independent contractors, but they wanted you on a schedule, and if you didn't show up, you didn't get to work for the next week. And if you were late, they fined you by the hour. And it was huge money, huge, gigantic money if you were late. Some girls would pay $200 late fee. Yeah. And so it was just messy. So they are reversing it back. So yeah. But if they do paychecks, the club is liable and can be padlocked for anything happens. It's illegal. If they don't do paychecks, then they call everybody independent contractors, and the club's not liable, and as much, like they can cite the manager and all that crap. They can tag the liquor license, but they can't just lock it down. They go after the girl. She gets charges and stuff. So it's, I don't know. But it forced a lot of clubs to close. It closed a whole bunch of them in NOLA. Yeah. I know one of the owners, he just went, screw it, and just like shut all his stuff down. And that there's like three main owners in NOLA of all the strip clubs. And they have all those strip clubs and some outside of the quarter. And girls started suing them and stuff, and they just tore it up. And it's like, go ahead, open your mouth, talk some shit, and then guess what happens? The club's going to get closed or something, and then you have no job. And then if the next club you go to finds out you were involved in a lawsuit like that, like some of them do, a lawsuit with a whole bunch of girls that'll sue the club and say, oh, it's not fair, and this is this, and this is that. Dude, you know the rules going in. You want to make good money, and you want to be safe with security guards and video and all that kind of stuff, so bad stuff doesn't happen to you, because, there's some people that are really stupid that want to do stuff outside of work, and that's the best way to get killed or really severely hurt. And I can go through some pretty grody stuff of people that I knew personally in the business that did, side deals, side dance shows, side sex, whatever. And it was just like, man, keep it on the stage. Have you lost your mind? I can tell you some really terrible stories, some very dead people, some people who got very severely disfigured by sickos, because they didn't keep it on the stage, with the videos, security cameras, and managers, the lot security, all, there's a reason for all that. Those people have to be paid, and if you're going to screw the club over, well, nobody else wants to hire you if they find out you're involved in that lawsuit. It's like, we don't need you to work here. See ya. And so, do you want to really do that? It's just, people are silly. I hope you saw my question. Is that why some strip clubs charge a cover so they can pay their talent? Well, okay. Well, the ones that are on payroll are going to be the bartenders, security guards, the doho, the managers, um, and a bar back, the lot guy. Um, then they got the lighting, which is gross expensive. God, if you think a Sonic is expensive to run every day, you got to try a strip club. They use a humongous amount of power, and amongst other things. You still got your water, your heat and air. That's a huge thing. Heat and air, and uh, it's just really expensive to operate a strip club. Um, but if you run it right, you make a truckload of money, and because really mostly it's liquor, and if you can get food in there, any kind of food, whether it's like sandwiches in a microwave, pizza, a real chef, real chef is the way to go. Those were the classy clubs in Memphis. Oh my gosh. Oh, too nice. Too nice. Like being in the Hilton. There's a real nice club in mid Florida called Rachel's. And it is a linen tablecloth dinner house and showgirls. And all the girls are required to wear floor length gowns. 100% classy, okay? It is so classy. And they have an in house seamstress who makes clothes, the costumes and stuff. Um, I mean, she makes bank. She charges big giant bucks for her stuff. I wanted to run costumes in there so bad, and they wouldn't let me because they had somebody that does that in house. Um, but I mean, the girls were absolutely beautiful, and they were so sweet and polite, and it looked like a really good house, very classy place, and very nice customers. More high end. Big giant building, looks Memphis style. It's called Rachel's. Um, and they have, I mean, prime rib and all this kind of stuff. They have a breakfast buffet type thing. That I mean, it's really reasonable. I really highly suggest it, whether you care about showgirls or not, because the dinner house is, in the left. When you come in the building, the left side is the fine dining. The right side is the stages and the showgirls. So if you just want to go there to eat, you just go in the door and turn left and go on in there and get something to eat. I mean, I would highly suggest it. A total class, fine dining, linen tablecloth, and very reasonable, in a really good area, really really good area. Um, but yeah, so humongous place. It looks like an old car dealership or something. But anyway, yeah. So uh, back to the job thing. Um, um, uh, I was thinking of all the tip outs, and I was like, oh, I don't get into all that because it's a big long ordeal. I need to do that though. I need to do a vlog about that. Um, I did one a while back about tip your DJ because that's super important. But no, uh, so I got to work tonight. Yay. Except I was kind of sad because, it was on a sad note because my coworker got hurt at work. Um, so, uh, she had asked me if I could come in today, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, I had just got over to go, you know, play with that printer for a minute, and I was like, had to, go over there and fool with that for a second, and then forget the rest, and go ahead and go to work because I wanted to be, a little bit early, and so I could go ahead and begin. She offered me at 4 or 5, and I said, no, I'll be there at 4. Hey, it's money. And so, and she said, if you can, I would like you to come tomorrow too. So I've got that interview um, with that one guy tomorrow, and then I've got her, and then, dude, it's been almost 2 weeks in that retail store for that job for $20 an hour to be a manager of 3/4 of the store, and then do all kinds of other jobs from other categories like warehouse and all this other crap. It was like 5 jobs rolled up in one because they're short like 8 employees. Oh my gosh. It's a giant store and it's like all they got is about 5 employees. It's so dumb. 5 employees, 2 managers. But anyway, yeah, and this guy is a new manager, and I don't think he's got his act together or he's drunk. He could very well be drunk at work because he's a goofy so and so. Has turned around, changed his mind, and because I said, "What's the deal with the job?" Because I really didn't want to take it because it seemed much more like $35 an hour than 20, and uh, and I pushed him to 20. He had offered me 18 or 19. I'm like, nah, like 25, and we went back and forth, and he opted for 20. So now he's like doing this thing where, well, uh, it wouldn't be full time, but and then it will be $15 an hour. And I'm like, what? Well, I'm going to try you in different sectors of the store and see what you like the most. And it's like, I already know what I liked the most. Stalker or manager? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm serious. I'm like, so what happened to the $20 an hour I was hired for full time? And the guy has never done crap, you know? And on that interview, he kept calling me somebody else's name. I'm going to tell you what he did. He took that other person's name and freaking gave him my job. I'll make you bet. He sent the wrong person. I told him right off top, I said, no, my name is Red. They call me like Jessica or Gabriella or something like that. And I was like, no, my name is Red. So I think he really screwed up. Because you have to go um, on a training thing in Picola, and they put you in a hotel. And he told me they pay mileage, and I was like, so what about fuel? Are you paying my food too? You doing the housing, the hotel, and all that. And all he said was like the mileage and hotel, which that's kind of crappy because it will cost me $50 in gas at least driving over there and back. At least. Yep. And that's like not cool. And Picola is a very scary place. It is really bad. It used to be bad when the night fell, but now it's bad 24 hours a day. It's just not that. It's like going to Compton. It's just not a good place anymore. So, anyway, so I got hired at the restaurant thing to be a server of 3 tables. After like a week, I would make tips, which that's such jive. I would rather just go in there and for the job that I went for the interview for, which was dish, where I get flat pay, boom. And she was like, "Why don't you be a server?" I'm like, "I really don't want to." I mean, I wouldn't serve in a place like that. I would work in something that was, fine dining, linen tablecloth, or really expensive seafood, something like that. There is no way. I mean, it's just so lame. It's just, their food is kind of mid price, and it's southern. So it's not like, you know, you want to go for the expensive stuff where you get good tips generally. You know what I mean? So, the people that can afford to eat in those places can afford to tip. As long as you give them really good service, you might see a really great tip. Or a good thank you is just as well. But anyway, so I haven't heard crap from that deal. And what was weird, what I was going to tell you is we do this big long interview, and then she friggin' all of a sudden goes bye and jumps up and runs in the kitchen. And I waited for a minute. I said, surely she didn't say bye. And she took, like 2 hours to even start interview. And she goes, "Your interview was the 24th at 2." I said, "No, I wrote it down and asked you twice, and it was, today at 1, and I was here since 12:30. I didn't get out of there till 3:30. Yeah, 3:30. That was just such bullcrap. And so, anyway, I haven't heard poop back. And I don't even care. And it's not even like full time. It's like part time. But anyway, um, uh, so now I'm jacking around with this goofball over here at this retail store again. I call corporate just to see. And as a matter of fact, I got a call from payroll this morning. HR called me yesterday. Payroll called me this morning, and she says, "Well, give me a social security number." And I'm gonna look it up. And I said, was I or wasn't I hired for $20 an hour full time as a manager in my store? And uh, so she looked it up. She says, "You're not even in our system." I went, "What?" And she says, "Yeah." She says, "What store number is it?" And I told her, and they have a bunch of other stores in Florida. And this thing's home based in Florida, but it's real far away. And so, um, I looked up the store number on the internet, and because she had no clue where it was, and so, I gave her the store number. She looked that up, and there was nothing, nothing with my name on it. I was like, "What the heck?" So anyway, what was it? I never put the offer in. And so, yeah, I guess. And that was a bummer because I did two huge long interviews. I did a 20-minute interview standing in the store because I went in there to shop around. I was shopping around at 5 different places to find a new side bag, and my little pocketbook that I wear when I'm running costumes goes around my waist. And so I stopped carrying a pocketbook to work because that was a really bad idea. But so I carried a side bag, then people wouldn't watch me as I was loading the car and all that stuff. And my money would be real close to my body under my jacket. You know what I mean? You don't want to go out with a purse. That's just dumb. And so anyway, um, I was going around pricing side bags. So when I got money, then I would be able to get one, and it would be the best price and at the right place. So I was looking at 4 different places. So that was one of them. And the guy, stopped me and said, "Hey, why don't you come to work here?" I'm like, "I don't know." And like, "Are you hiring?" He said, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "Full time?" "Oh yeah." And we talk. So anyway, I went and put an application in, and then I was calling like every 2 days. He was taking off, and then I'd call again, and it's like, "Oh well, he left early, and oh well, he only worked today. You missed him. I'll leave a message. He never calls back." Just real flaky. So then I go in, and one day that I'm scheduled for an interview, um, and it was a different manager, and he interviews me for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Really likes me. He says, "I'm going to, send this over to this other manager." And I said, "Well, okay." And so then I had to come back to do another interview with the other manager, which, I was calling. He couldn't get a hold of the guy. He'd take 2 days off and then he'd be back. I'll be messy. It was just a lot of dancing. And then I did like a 2.5 hour interview with the second manager. That's the one that was kind of goofed up. Um, I'm kind of thinking he's just drunk at work. I mean, um, nobody could be that silly and be a store manager. Oh my gosh. And so, anyway, it's just messy all the way around. And I just needed to get work because I've got 2 storages to pay, you know, on the first. I'm like, cool. And that's a huge amount of money. Um, I already paid the other one like 2 weeks in advance. But I'm like, well, because if my stuff gets locked up, I can't sell my internet stuff. So that's not good. You know, I would have to suspend all my internet stuff for no sales, so that I wouldn't get in trouble for not being able to ship. So anyway, you know, this guy's still jacking around. Oh my gosh, what a mess. Oh my gosh. So he turns around and he's like, well, I can't, I can do part time, 15-hour month. Excuse me? He sends an offer over the internet, and there's no pay on it. It's the same job description. And I'm like, what the hell? And it says it expires at midnight yesterday. Okay. I'm like, this guy's trying to just really jack with me. Who's going to send you an offer for a job and it expires at midnight? I've never seen anything like that. But anyway, I went ahead and bam, 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 did it, and did all the paperwork and all this other crap. And then he calls me today, and he goes, because I called last night, and I said, oh, he says he's not here. Because I know people that work over there too. He says he's not here. And I'm like, oh, well, I just wanted to tell him I did all that stuff that he sent over the internet. And they're like, okay. So he calls today, and he goes, and I told him, I say, it's same job description as the other job. And so I don't understand why you dropped it down to $15 an hour in part-time. And he says, oh, well, I don't know why it's sent the same job description, all that. And so, yeah. So he says, and how do you know what the pay is if it's not on there? I said, well, there wasn't anything on there at all about how much the pay was. He said, God, what if it was like $5 an hour? I said, you guys would all be in the federal penitentiary. I'm not sweating it, because it won't happen. I mean, this is the kind of job where you would have to call payroll and HR just to confirm everything, because this guy's so goofy. I'm just like really disappointed. That's why he's so short of employees, because they can't get their act together. Nice guy, but goofy. So anyway, and I was really disappointed it run from 20 to 15. It's like, dude, really, So anyway, it would just take weeks to get this job. In the meantime, I've got my other job with the FBI, second level security clearance background check that I think went through today, and so I'm still waiting on that, because that's a really neat job. And they were talking to corporate about getting me a higher pay than what they had offered me, because I pushed them on it, and so that's the one where I'm redesigning the restaurant into fine dining, linen tablecloth, tuxedo service, and training all the employees. And so it would be really fun. If I could make strippers walk good and sexy in heels, and they come in tennis shoes and Levi's, trust me, I can turn a dinner house around into fine dining, linen tablecloth, tuxedo service. Yes, that's right. With the same kind of girls. Anyway, so I'm really, the medical benefits and all that stuff are really, really, really good with that job. Okay, really, really good. And so, anyway, I really kind of wanted to catch that one because that one's full time. And that's what I really need, is a seriously full-time job. So I have full-time check coming, and then I can work my other little stalker, my stupid job on the side. And because that one's like part-time for life. And I would be doing okay, and could still do my internet stuff too. So I'm trying to go forward and make money, not slide backwards and be broke. and without gas and not being able to eat. It's just too much problem. So anyway, uh, um, I'm really excited. I'm really hoping for this store job tomorrow. Because I mean they're talking, almost full time hours, and the pay could be pretty good. It may not be, but it should be pretty good. Um, uh, so, um, you know, it uh, it will be fun, and I will learn some stuff. Um, and it's like stalking too. So, um, uh, we'll see, we'll see. So that store job for the big job, if I get that big job. But there's a chance I don't. I have a feeling they're going through a lot of interviews because they're really particular and want to select the right person. They were really thrilled with me, both parties, the man that heads the dinner houses and then the head lady. Um, so they were very, very excited with me because I have experience in tuxedo service. So, um, you know, who knows? Who knows? So, I mean, I would dump the other job just to go to that. Really, I would, or see if they work me 1 or 2 days a week. So we'll see. But uh, so I got stuff flying all over. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I took your advice and I called corporate on rooms to go. Let me tell you, the guy thanked me like 10 times during the phone call. I said, well, I had a friend of mine that, said I really should talk to corporate about what happened today. And the gentleman said, your friend was absolutely correct. You need to thank your friend for that fine advice from me because I really appreciate that and I really need to know that. Yeah, that was really bad, wasn't it? Oh my gosh. I never in my life have I gone to an interview and been treated, I mean, just absolutely psycho like that. I was telling one of my coworkers tonight about that, and they said, "Oh yeah, that place is terrible, and the guy's a jerk." I'm like, "Really?" And they went, "Oh yeah." And I told them what happened. I said, "I would have called the sheriffs." I said, "Man, I was so creeped out. I thought Dade was calling the sheriffs on me." I was shaking when I got in the car and was leaving there. I, oh my gosh, it scared me. It was like I'd done something vilely wrong in that store or something. And I mean, I was just going for, an interview, man, for a job. My God, it's not a big hairy deal. If you don't want to interview, who cares? I just go out the door. Who cares? You know, it's no big hairy deal. If you don't like my hair color, you don't like my hair, you don't like my clothes, who cares? Just tell me, sorry, not interested, and say thank you for your time. Have a good day, and I walk out the door. Not a problem. Move on with life. Life rolls on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not a big hairy deal, you know. But the guy was absolutely horrible, and I was talking so soft, I just went, um, "You're just too negative for me. I don't want to work here." And I turned around and started to walk out the door, and he was just right up my butt, bah, 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 and waving his arms and everything, bah, 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 and walked aside of me. What did you say? I said, "You're way too negative for me. I do not want to work here." There it goes. My Wi-Fi's jumping in and out, I guess. But anyway, I had to turn it off. So anyway, um, yeah, the guy was very thankful that I called and told him, and I said, "Well, the thing is, I don't care about the job, okay?" I said, um, and I'm not going to work there with that. Period. No way, because that tells me that if the person is that bad to begin with, I wouldn't want to work there under a stressful situation or something, and the guy is like, 10 times worse. No, no, no. That was so scary. No, absolutely not. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. I don't care if it's $100 an hour. There is no possible way I'd put up with that. Really psycho. This is a kook, man. Crazy. And so, uh, anyway, I told him, I said, the thing is that I guess it's good that I let you know, um, about it, brought it to your attention, because who's going to want to work there? You know, if this guy acts kooky like that to people that come in there to interview. Um, and, what about the current employees there? I mean, they must be under so much. And so I guess that's what a lot of the reviews are on the internet is, bosses that are like that. Oh my gosh. Um, so I only had a few for that particular store and they were not good. But you know, I mean, bottom line was, it's a job. They put a new listing up today. I reapplied on that, and they hadn't even called me or answered, and I just went on over there this morning, you know, and said, well, if they need somebody, they need somebody. So I'd already been there before, and freaking it wasn't even open. They didn't even answer the phone, and so they didn't answer the phone when I called twice at noon, and my appointment's for 1, and I was there at 9:30. But anyway, so and the internet said it opened at 10 in the morning on Sunday. So anyway, bottom line is they're hiring. You can hire me or not. I don't care. But uh, you know, I'm not gonna work for somebody like that. There's no way. Absolutely no way. I said, uh, I waited there like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so for this guy to even come. And it wasn't like they were real busy in the joint. It's just a big giant place with lots of furniture in it. And there was 5 other what looked like co-workers that were all kind of gathered down the middle of the building when I walked in. Um, and I kind of thought the girl that had approached me was the manager. She was so cheerful, young girl, really sweet with glasses. But I told the guy, I said, if you got video over there, he goes, I don't know if we do or not. I said, well, if you do, I said, whether it has audio or just video or both, I would definitely check it. And you can see what happened. I mean, I know just by, looking at me coming in there and then trying to exit peacefully. I mean, the guy was just all over me and waving his hands in the air and yelling at me. And it was the weirdest thing I had ever seen. It was just, I mean, totally psycho. I mean, like dudes on meth or something, just really kooky. And so, anyway, but no one needs to put up with that. If that guy is the regular manager there, I don't know how those employees put up with that, because they're like the Wyndham employees or bag car salesmen. Uh, they have to sell, 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 and sell better than they sold yesterday and better than they sold last month. They always push them, push them. And from what I read on the reviews, and then if they drop below at any time, say it's a slow day or they have too many salespeople, then they start revoking your commissions because you're a loser. Yeah, now that's not cool. They're going to revoke your commissions. Oh my gosh. So, I would not want to be a salesperson there. And the job I was applying for was, like an office secretary. It processes, all this stuff and all this junk. So, no, it's okay. Don't worry, because there's new jobs every day. New jobs every day on the internet. So, um, and there's going to be more and more and more every day. It'll be the pick because we're walking right into spring break. So, but anyway, so I got a shift today at my little stupid job that I love, and then I'm supposed to be working tomorrow again because I need help because they're really short. Without this guy working, they're super super short, and So, I'm hoping I can get, if I could manage to pull some full time out of those jokers, it'd be great. I don't see it happening because the guy that's out right now is a longtime employee and has had full time. And he had told me, he said, I started part time with this company years ago. He said, and then I got my full time. And I'm like, you're kidding. He's like, nope. So, anyway, I just want to give you guys an update and let you know. And I wanted to tell you thank you from the guy that's at the at the corporate office that I talked to today for rooms to go. Said thank you, thank you, thank you for guiding me to contact him because it was ultimately important. I was really concerned. So yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great evening. I gotta get some sleep. I gotta get up in the morning because I want to go check that guy for an interview. He told me, um, 10 to 12, just whenever, kind of thing. And if I miss him during his lunchtime, I have to come back. But he was really cool to let me, give him a estimate of 10 to 12, tomorrow. Um, uh, and then we'll find out what goes on. Um, I mean, I would be cool with that job and then my little stupid job. I would be happy. Oh, it's great. Peace and love. Yeah, thank you so much. You too. And I'll let you guys know what's going on tomorrow. And I got my printer ink. As soon as I got off work, I went and got that. So I'm already ready because I'm out of the black. Okay, I got tons of the other colors because I ordered a bulk load of it through my friend down in lower Florida. Um, in Miami. Yes, my ink man. He is so good and he's so cheap. But I got no place for him to ship it to. So right now, I don't have an address. So anyway, um, I picked some up over here at the Walmart and dirt cheap. The on, I got the black and the colors, the whole thing of it for $20. So I'm gonna try those and see, if the thing doesn't throw a complete and total hissy fit when I put those in, because I need the black. That's the problem I'm having. I need the black. So, and those you can't refill those cartridges. They are terrible. I've done it. They're horrible. They're pressurized. They do not like being refilled. Um, so anyway, I'll let you guys know more tomorrow. Okay. I love you so much. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll see what happens next. Da, 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 da. Tomorrow's another day. Nighty night. I love you guys. Have a great one.